Hey, this is Justin Gatlin again, making another little logos video to help you with something that's pretty basic. How do you prioritize your books in Logos Bible software? And what are some tricks for kind of keeping that organized and figuring out what you want to do? So first, why do you need to prioritize your books? Well, if you have very much at all, if you get a base package or something, you're going to have hundreds or thousands of books. And some of them you will really like, and some of them you will not care about at all. And so when you open the passage guide or open a topic guide or open the fact book, and Logos is doing its job of finding all of these different resources for you, it doesn't know what books you're going to think is the best or what are going to be most helpful for you. And by prioritizing your resources, you tell it, here's what I want to come up first, and here's what I want to come up second, and so on. So let's go ahead and get started. It's not super difficult, but I'm going to give you a couple of steps. The first one is not strictly necessary, but I think it is pretty helpful. We want to create placeholders for personal books. Now that's because when you go in the Logos prioritization menu, it'll have all your different prioritized resources in a row. And that's okay, except in the future, when you get a new commentary set or you get a new dictionary and you want to organize things and you don't know what order things are in. And so Logos doesn't give us a good way to organize the prioritization stuff. And so a trick that a lot of users employ is creating personal books that are just blank books that you can put in your prioritization that will help you keep things neat. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to search personal book. And there's personal books right here. And up top on the left, I'm going to click Add Book right here. And I am just going to name it 5 hyphens and then the word Bibles, then 5 hyphens again. You do have to add a file. So I just created a Word document. It can't be empty. There does have to be something in it or it'll give you an error when you try to build the book. And so I just add that. I click Build Book. It's going to take it a second to discover it. You can see in my Word document, I just put Hello World. And so now there is a book in my library called Bibles by me that's Hello World. I'm going to do that again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commentaries. And again, I'm going to add that same file. Doesn't really matter. I just need it to make it work. I'm going to click Build Book. And add book. I'm going to do dictionaries. I'm going to include my encyclopedias and stuff there too. Okay, do that and build book. I'm going to do lexicons. These are your Greek and Hebrew dictionaries. I'm going to add that. And that gives you the idea, right? If you use any other kind of resource, for example, if you use a lectionary or something and you want to include that, you can definitely do that. Whatever you want to rank, you can create a category for it. This will at least give you the idea. The dashes do not show up at the top. They get skipped in Logos's stuff. See, so they are not going to show up and clutter your library. They'll just be down with Bibles or whatever. So then I'm just going to prioritize. So for me, it's easier to open the library window as a floating window. Like if I click this, I'm going to constantly be fighting with it. And so you can do that by right-clicking and clicking Open in a new tab. Or if you press Control and L at the same time, it'll open your library as a separate window. Doesn't really matter. Both do the same. I assume it's Command L on Mac. Then I'm going to go over to the 3 dots over here, and I'm going to click Prioritize Books. And now it's going to open this up. I've deleted all of my prioritization so I could show you a nice clean copy of what I want to do. So then I am going to go down here on the filters, and I'm going to scroll down to where it says Edition, and I'm going to click User Created. See that right there? If your stuff's closed, obviously you just click on it to open it back up. And I'm going to click User Created, and it's got some of the personal books that I've compiled. And I guess when I was getting ready, I made one that I didn't end up using. So I'm going to drag Bibles and commentaries and dictionaries and lexicons over here, right? So then I can delete this. And then, for example, if I'm looking for Bibles, I'm going to go up to the top again to filter, and I'm going to click Bible. And now it's going to give me all my Bibles. Well, this is not that helpful for me. Look at this. I've got all these little fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls and all kinds of stuff. And so I want to reduce that a little bit more. And so I'm going to go to Language, and I'm going to say I want the ones in English. And that helps a lot, right? That's going to remove a great many things. I know what translations I want. And so, for example, I'm going to take the ESV. I'm going to slide that under Bibles. And I am going to find the New American Standard, and I can see the publication date here. I want the 95 edition, and I'm going to drag that there. And I'll add the Net Bible just for the sake of completeness. I want to include the Lexham English Septuagint. I'm going to put that at the bottom because that's going to find stuff that I'm not going to have otherwise. And I'll get the King James Version right here and put that there. You'll notice it's bolded because it's in here as 2 volumes because the Apocrypha is listed as a separate volume. And that's okay too. The only other one I'm going to add right now is the CSB. You add whatever translations you want. And of course, that's fine, but just to demonstrate for you how to do it. So I'll take the Christian Standard Bible, and I'll put that right there. Really, the top 5 are going to be the ones that are going to matter, particularly. Now, the commentaries, I'm going to exit out of Type Bible, and I'm going to click Bible Commentary now. And now you see I've got a bunch of Bible commentaries, right? And that is overwhelming in a hurry. So what I want to do is find one that I like, right? So I can sort, if I click series here, it will sort them by series because I don't necessarily want the whole list of the thousands of commentaries that I have, because I know for the most part I want to prioritize, for example, the Pillar New Testament commentary, or I've got the New International Commentary on the Old and New Testament. So I'm going to right click this one, because instead of dragging it, I'm going to click prioritize this series, because I know that all of these are good and solid, and I am going to do the same thing with the New American Commentary. I'm going to right click and do prioritize this series. Of course, I can type into the top, like I want Pillar, and so I'm going to right click and prioritize this series, and then Baker Exegetical, and I'm going to prioritize this series, the Evangelical Exegetical, that is the Lexham's commentary series. It's good as well. New American, New International, Pillar, Baker, the Zondervan Exegetical Commentary. These I'm just pulling some out here that are good. This one, unfortunately, the series is split into the New Testament and the Old Testament, and so I'm going to prioritize it here, and then I'm going to do it also here. There's other options for that, so I can actually edit the series and make them all the same, but this gives you the idea, right? So you find the commentaries that you like, and you put them in order like this, and this is going to be the order that is good for me. Now, there may be a particular book, so like I might not consult the Word Biblical Commentary all the time, but in particular resources, I might really like it. And so, for example, I am unlikely to dig too deep in a lot of them, but P.T. O'Brien's on Colossians and Philemon I like that. And the Bill Mounce's on the pastorals, I like that. And so you can get that idea. So, whoops, it's still thinking I want the whole series. So I want to right-click that and click prioritize this book. Right-click if you make a mistake, just right-click it and click remove from the list. So I'm going to drag that here, and however you want to do it. This is the order in which they will show up. Now, let's say then I am the ones I've listed here are pretty shallow on the Old Testament. Of course, you're going to do more, right? You're going to fill out the books that you like, the commentaries that work for you, and you're going to make all this happen. You probably want some one-volume commentaries or, a couple volume like this and everything. So that's fine. Doesn't really matter for our purposes. So I'm going to close this out again. And then you do the same thing with dictionaries, right? And I'm including dictionaries and encyclopedias together. And I'm going to click series again to get rid of that. And, you can use their sorting order, and however you want to do it is fine. But I want to prioritize Anchor Yale, and I want to prioritize the IVP dictionary. So I'm going to right click and prioritize that series. And again, it's one where they separate the Old Testament and the New Testament. So I can even write like publisher : IVP. It'll show me their dictionaries. So I can right click and click prioritize the series. And I can put those here. Lexicons, of course, I can clear this out. And I can search for VDAG and put that here, and here, and whatever you want to do. I'm going to add Laonida, and I'm going to prioritize this series there. Okay, so then I've got these all prioritized, and now when I open up a Bible, for example, because I've got them prioritized, it's going to open up the ESV immediately because it's going to know that's the top Bible that I want. If I open a default layout, like if I do the Bible and commentary layout for John 3:16, it's going to know that I have the New International Commentary on the New Testament as my top priority. So that is another good way to work this through. So the prioritization is nice, because the placeholders are nice because I can later go back and add things. I can see what I'm doing. Everything's nice and neat, and it makes this library much more usable. A couple other things I want to point out, though. Excuse me. On my canvas here that I had open, whoops, I want to open a new one. I want the one that I had a second ago. Here we go. I want to give you a couple of advanced things. One, setting shortcuts to change priority. Okay, so if you're like me, maybe sometimes you work in one translation and sometimes you want a different one. So I can click in the translation and press my right arrow key to rotate through them in order. But if I am using like the sermon editor and I type a scripture in, it's always going to use my top text. And so if I'm writing for a particular audience or something, I may want one translation or another. So another thing you can do is you can go up here and click the command box, and you can write set default Bible to New American Standard Bible or something like that. And then I can drag, or it's not set default, it's set top. Set top Bible to New American Standard Bible. I'm going crazy. It's set preferred Bible. Sorry about that. Set preferred Bible to New American Standard. And then if I click this, it will change my default Bible to the New American Standard. And that's fine. But actually, I'm going to take that and I'm going to drag it right here. And so now it's a shortcut. For me then, I'm actually going to edit this. And I have a folder called Preferred Bible. You do have to type it every time. It doesn't give you any hints. And now I've made a little folder here. And so I've got CSB, ESV, King James, New American Standard. And by clicking one of these, so I will immediately change my preferred Bible. It doesn't give you any kind of a cue that it's been done, except when I open the Bible again, it's now in the CSB. And I set it to ESV by clicking that. And I open the Bible again, and now it opens in ESV, and so on. And so for me, I can quickly set a preferred Bible, and then I can use that to keep things, to see what I want to see. I don't think that's really useful to set commentaries and stuff on the fly usually, but for translations, I think having a little shortcut to quickly change your default translation is really helpful. And you can see that it just adds it to the top here, and it'll pull wherever it was and bring it to the top, so you can shuffle your translations and stuff like that. Pretty straightforward, I think, but a useful little hint that I saw somebody used. Last thing, the advanced stuff to set prioritization. So again, I'm just going to press Control L, because you can say, for example, I click Prioritize Books. I can say that I want the King James Version for the New Testament and the New American Standard for the Old Testament or something, or maybe more realistically, I want to prioritize this translation, this commentary. I set prioritization limits here. And I can say, okay, I only want it to open when it's a Bible, and I only want it to be my top one from Genesis, and so on, right? So you can even do what reference it comes from. But I think the main usage for most of us is going to be saying, okay, I really want to use this for specific purposes, right? For specific books. And so you may move in the case of a multi-volume, of course, you just wouldn't use the series in the first place. But in the case of a one-volume commentary, like Bible Knowledge Commentary, I could say, okay, I want to right-click this, set prioritization limits, because I only want it to be if I reference John, right? So now let me get out of here, and I'll make this my top commentary for John. So if I go here and I open a passage guide, and I open it to Mark 1:2, then in my commentaries, no, that's not exactly what you want, because I have my commentaries subdivided a little bit more, but I added commentary window. In my commentaries right now, it is the New International Commentary. But if I pick John 1:2, and I go back down to commentaries, the Bible Knowledge Commentary is prioritized up top, just for that one. So that's an advanced feature. It may not be relevant for you, but if you want it, then you can. So with the particular books and stuff, like if you were studying a particular book and you wanted to always open the Septuagint or something when you were referencing it, you could do that. And you could pick your translations and stuff like that. So you can add more categories. Later I'll add some others, like the original language. So I'll have my favorite Greek and Hebrew texts lined out and stuff like that. But generally, I think you will find that this is a really helpful thing. For ideas, of course, you just go to type and you just scroll through and see which ones am I likely to need. When I'm going through my fact books and stuff and I see a category that's pulling like that, then I can definitely see, I'd like to prioritize this because I'd rather see this book instead of that book. So I'll add cross-references and I'll add Greek texts, Hebrew texts, and stuff like that. But I think that basically this gives you an idea of the ease and the power of prioritizing your library. So I hope this is helpful. And obviously if you're a power user, you know this already, but if you're just getting started, then learning things like this to make your software work for you can be the difference in really enjoying using it and not using it because it's too much trouble. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have an awesome day.